Most Canadians grab packaged bread without a second thought. Yet what keeps those soft white loaves mold-free for weeks is not traditional baking. It is an industrial blend of preservatives, anti-mold agents, dough conditioners, added sugars, and extra sodium, ingredients found in many major brands. Some of these additives are restricted or banned in other developed countries, but they remain permitted in Canada. What are we really eating every day, and why does no one talk about it? In the decades following World War II, bread production in Canada underwent a quiet but dramatic transformation. Small neighborhood bakeries, once the source of daily loaves made from just flour, water, yeast, and salt, began to give way to large industrial bakeries. Efficiency became the new goal. High-speed mixers and automated lines demanded dough with a very specific texture, soft enough to move through machines, yet strong enough to hold its shape. This challenge led to the adoption of dough conditioners, with L-cysteine at the forefront. Introduced in the mid-20th century, L-cysteine is an amino acid that softens gluten, making dough more elastic and easier to process on a massive scale. Its use allowed factories to produce uniform loaves at a speed and volume never seen before. Unlike traditional kneading, which relies on time and manual labor, L-cysteine could shorten rising times and ensure every slice looked and felt the same, day after day. These changes weren't about deception. They were about meeting the demands of a growing, urban population. Yet the result was bread that no longer relied on time or skill for its signature softness, but on chemical intervention. This industrial approach set the stage for the next wave of additives, preservatives designed to keep bread fresh as it traveled farther and sat longer on store shelves. A typical sliced white loaf from the supermarket can sit on a kitchen counter for 2 weeks or more without showing a single spot of mold. This is not a result of accident or luck. It is the outcome of deliberate formulation, with preservatives playing a central role. In Canada, about 80% of packaged breads contain anti-mold agents, the most common being calcium propionate. This additive works by inhibiting the growth of mold and bacteria, making it possible for bread to travel long distances, withstand freezing, and remain soft and edible throughout its shelf life. Without preservatives, bread made from just flour, water, yeast, and salt would start showing signs of spoilage within days, especially in humid conditions. Industrial bakeries rely on these additives to reduce waste and ensure that every loaf delivered to stores is as fresh as the day it left the factory. Ingredient labels often list calcium propionate near the end, just after salt or oil, but its function rarely gets explained to shoppers. While Health Canada permits its use at regulated levels, some countries in the European Union set stricter limits or encourage alternatives. For most Canadians, eating bread with preservatives is a daily routine, not a conscious choice. The long shelf life is convenient, but it also means that chemical intervention is now an ordinary part of the bread experience. Inside every supermarket bread aisle, the soft, springy texture of a packaged loaf is no accident. The secret lies in the use of emulsifiers, ingredients like mono and diglycerides and datem, added to the dough to create that familiar, pillowy crumb. These substances act as stabilizers, helping tiny air bubbles form and hold their shape as the bread rises and bakes. The result is a loaf that stays airy and light even after being sliced, bagged, shipped, and shelved for days or weeks. In traditional home baking, this delicate structure comes from careful kneading and patience. But in large-scale bakeries, emulsifiers do the heavy lifting. They prevent the bread from going stale too quickly by slowing down the process where starches harden, a phenomenon known as stalling. On ingredient lists, these additives often appear after the main staples, tucked between oils and preservatives. For a typical private label white bread, mono and diglycerides are as common as flour or yeast. Their role is not to add flavor or nutrition, but to guarantee that every slice feels soft to the touch, with a uniform texture that lasts far beyond what home-baked bread could achieve without them. A closer look at a whole wheat loaf from a major Canadian brand reveals another layer to the story: added sugars and salt. On the label, sugars often appear as glucose, fructose, or dextrose, sometimes making up as much as 5 grams per slice. These ingredients help feed the yeast, give bread a golden color, and lock in moisture so each bite stays soft for days. Salt is also present in amounts higher than most home bakers would use, sometimes as much as 400 milligrams per serving. This is not just for flavor. Sodium strengthens the dough and acts as a mild preservative, further extending shelf life. Canadian regulations require all these additives to be listed, but the reasons behind each are rarely explained on the package. Meanwhile, some substances permitted here face restrictions elsewhere. Azodicarbonamide, a flour treatment agent, is allowed in Canada and the United States, but banned in the European Union because of concerns about occupational exposure. These differences reflect how countries weigh risk and benefit, not a simple right or wrong. For Canadians, it means that the familiar taste and texture of supermarket bread comes from a carefully engineered mix of ingredients, some of which are invisible in daily life but very much present in every slice. Every label lists the additives, but with some ingredients banned elsewhere, Canadians face a choice: accept what is permitted or push for transparency. Awareness starts at the shelf. What will you notice next?